So here is our DPT shoulder activation phase 1 exercise flow. For this, you're going to need a 1/2 inch band and a towel. And ideally something to even connect it to. What we want is these exercises to be done for 2 to 3 sets of about 10 to 15 reps. I will give you those as we go along. And again, even if you just follow along with this video, I'll take you through it one time and show you what we're looking for. We definitely want no pain, but I do want those muscles to feel like they're doing something. So make sure, again, that 1/2 inch band is a great thing to use. But again, try to keep the pain away from this. So we're going to start with a bilateral banded external rotation. For that, it's really easy just to use one part of the band, just one width of the band. Stand up nice and tall, elbows tucked into your side, hands here. We're going to turn both hands away from our body, keeping the elbows in, and then slowly bring them back. So we're going to shoot for 15 of these, and I'll do these here. So it's important to stay nice and tall the whole time and move slowly. So it's fine to kind of pull out a little quicker, but as your hands come back together, I want them to be moving slowly. Tend to move too fast in general during these exercises, and all we want is some endurance to be built, and as we put some tension across everything. 9, we're gonna go to 15 for this. You can feel this in the back of my shoulders, a little bit in my shoulder blades. That's where you wanna feel it. And what you might find is one hand starts moving out more than the other, meaning that one side gets a little weak. Just be mindful of that, and you can shorten the range if you need to. 2 more, 14 and 15. Great. Okay, so I should have been feeling that back here and kind of in between my shoulder blades. For part 2, we're just going to loop this around something, so a rig works great. This is also where you can use the towel. We're going to do some internal rotation. And take that towel, I'm going to put it right between my elbow so I can kind of squeeze in. That band is going to start with my fist about right out in front of my shoulder. Stand up nice and tall, and you're same thing, you're just going to turn in and then slowly let it come out. So let's go for 15 of these as well. So starting off with some really easy, old school rotator cuff activation. Sounds kind of like a meathead exercise, but I'll tell you what, simple sometimes works great. That's what we want. So I'm controlling this, I'm not fighting it. I don't feel like I have to lean against it. It feels smooth in both directions. Again, not having to work too hard. We don't need to be the strongest band puller ever. It's just about turning these muscles on. So here's 10, 11, 12, 13. I should be feeling this through that pec a little bit. 14. And 15, but that subscapularis is just inside there. So now I'll go ahead and I'll switch. I'll do the exact same thing on that left side. Again, nice and tall. Hand starts out in front of my shoulder and turning in. You can go through more range if you really wanted to, but it's really not necessary. Just trying to turn those muscles on. 4, 5, we're looking about like 2 to 3 seconds for each rep. So again, nice and slow. Don't race through these, it's not necessary. 9, 10. Again, you might find that one side's a little weaker, has a little bit more endurance than the other. That's okay. Due to old injuries, just use, whatever it might be. And 15, great. All right, I'm gonna take that towel out. I'm gonna take this band off the wall. Next, we're gonna do a horizontal abduction band pull. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll grab that band, maybe about shoulder width or slightly further out. And we're gonna go ahead and grab it so it's palms up, arms are out. We're gonna pull those shoulder blades back and pull that band apart. And again, slowly letting it come back in. If that's too much, you can just go ahead and change it down to 1 and do it that way. But whatever feels like it's enough pressure that you're doing something, but not so much that it's overpowering you and making you work too hard. Again, I want to feel these muscles between my shoulder blades and the backs of my shoulders, but I don't want it to feel like I'm being overpowered by the band. The band also has to be heavy enough that you, again, makes you feel like you're doing something. So this 1/2 inch band is really ideal. 10, and go 5 more. 13, 14, 15. Okay, so same thing, shake those out. Back of the shoulder blade should be working pretty hard with that. Next we're gonna do what we call a reciprocal band pull. So I'm gonna go one arm up overhead and one arm down. So I'm gonna get a little bit of this shoulder elevation as I'm punching up towards the sky, and then this side's gonna be pulling down. So you'll do the same thing, you'll grab that band so the thumbs are up, and we'll go one high, one low, standing nice and tall. Just gonna pull one up, one down, and then slowly let it come back. We're gonna do 10 of these on each side. 2. And assuming that this does not bother your shoulder, I'll show you a substitution for this in a minute if it does. But reaching up overhead, as long as that's pain-free, again, if those muscles are working, that's fine, but I don't want it to be painful in any way. 2 more. 9, 10. Whew. It's burning. It's all good. All right, here's the other one, and then I'll show you the substitution. So here we go. Again, one arm up, one arm down. Nice, slow, and controlled. We're trying to work not just the rotator cuff, but all those muscles around the shoulder blade as well, including the lats, rhomboids, middle trap, lower trap. This is pretty comprehensive. It gets a little bit of everything. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Same thing. Comprehensively burning right now, which is great. If that bothers your shoulder, rather, you can try just holding out in front of you like this and taking that other hand and pulling down. Turns it into an isometric for this top arm if raising all the way up hurts. If it's just like, hey, I'm not sure, it doesn't feel great, then just go ahead and skip it. That's totally fine, okay? Last thing you need the band for. Next, we're going to go ahead and turn on the serratus anterior. So we're going to get down on the ground, and we are going to do a scap push-up. But we're going to do this on our forearm. So we're going to get down like this. Ideally get down into like a plank position, or we call a pillar plank. So from here, I'm just going to squeeze my butt, tighten my quads. So I'm in kind of like again, just a strong plank position. I'm going to let my shoulder blades fall together, and I'm going to press away. So it's a shoulder blade motion, because that's the only thing that can move, because I can't use my elbows in this position. And we'll go for 10 of these. Nine, and 10. Okay, if that's too challenging for you, go ahead, you can drop to your knees and you can do the same thing. Just a shoulder lever. If that's still even tough, you can even just be here and try it like that. We don't want to overload that shoulder girdle too much, but we definitely want to feel like there's some pressure coming up from the ground through it. Crawling is actually how you learned how to use your shoulder in the first place and connect your shoulder into your core. So we're just priming it with that exercise, because the next thing that we're going to do is a bear crawl. So for a bear crawl, we're going to get you hands and knees, and then all you're going to do is just straighten your legs, stick your butt up in the air, and we're just going to walk forward. Super slow. Going to amble forward. Depends on how much space you have, but maybe like 5 to 10 reps on each side. Or you can even go for, say, like 30 seconds. If you have a long hallway, maybe it's down and back. But there's some value in going down and then backwards back, because you're using that core, you're using that whole shoulder girdle, and everything around that shoulder is working. So you should feel that through here. These should be really warmed up. You might just feel a little bit more fatigue in those muscles. Totally fine. So try going through that exact sequence 2 to 3 times, see how it feels.